Width versus tension, this is where most people get it wrong. What if I told you trying to close the gap might actually be the wrong goal?
Hey there, I'm Celia, women's health and pre- and postnatal specialist, nutrition coach, trainer, and mom of 4. I help women feel strong and confident in every season because a strong you is an enabled you. You matter and you are worth being well. Let's dive into today's topic.
I want you to listen to this. For years, Diastasis Recti, Rehab, focuses on narrowing the gap. That's put all the focus on just getting that gap closer between the rectus abdominis, which are the ab muscles, the six-pack muscles. The assumption was that activating the transverse abdominis, which are our other abs out along the sides, would help pull the abs together and fix the gap between our six-pack muscles. But guess what? Research actually shows us something different. The goal was wrong. Transverse abdominis creates a horizontal pull, our side abdominals, and that can actually widen that interrecti distance that we're dealing with, that diastasis recti we're dealing with, while also simultaneously increasing the tension issue with the linea alba. So what I am getting to is tension is our goal, not just the width, okay? Tension is what allows connective tissue to transfer load and support that we need for our upper and lower extremities. Tension of the linea alba, so that should be our goal. Think of the linea alba like elastic. I've said this before, like a rubber band that's overstretched. When it has good tension, it stays firm and supportive. But when the tension is poor, like an overstretched rubber band, okay, it sags and it distorts. So these are gonna float and we're gonna have that gap if the tension on the linea alba here is not what we focus on restoring. So just focusing on the transverse abdominis was not enough, okay? So this is why modern rehab, updated information focuses on breath work, on core coordination, on posture management, and progressive loading. Okay, just focusing on closing the gap without restoring tension does not make the core stronger. It just changes the appearance of it. And we still have all that internal weakness and issues, which is why some of us struggle silently. So instead of focusing on closing the gap alone, that is a byproduct, we need to focus on building the tension back and regaining the tension and strength back in the linea alba. Working on restoring that tension here is what is going to bring those core muscles together, okay? So yes, the gap will close, but you can't focus on the gap. I've said this before in previous videos, and especially my one about functionality with diastasis recti. If you just focus on the gap, you're focusing on the wrong thing. We need to focus on the linea alba tension being restored. Tension over width is the foundation of what I focus on in my core program. If you're interested, I created it because of this exact thing. So many of us women are still being taught outdated methods that focus on just closing the gap. My program is called Closing the Gap because that is what happens as a result. The focus is on the tension in the linea alba and doing specific movements that are gonna help us in different ways each day rebuild that tension. This is key. Research has showed us that. We wanna build strength from the inside out. Again, guys, vitality. Strength comes from the inside out. In every aspect of our wellness journey, mind, body, soul, nutrition, foundational health, all of it. And it is the same for your core. Your linea alba, the tension there needs to be restored. I really want to get this point across today. Width versus tension. Okay, just focusing on our TV muscles, in those oblique muscles, in our inner TV wasn't enough. The biggest key is focusing on tension restoring after a baby or when you're dealing with diastasis recti. So we always hear don't do all the crunches. Okay, we know that. That's working a lot of these external six-pack muscles, and those are brought together through, again, regaining that tension and overall strength. Yes, these other aspects of our core matter. Yes, your TV, your deep TVs are very important, but if you just focus on bringing them together, okay, it's not enough. You're gonna still have this weak linea alba, and then you're going to still deal with those issues. So it's often another reason why people will kind of feel like they look like they have a core, but they're still not tight inside, and they don't feel connected, or their waist doesn't feel as snatched. That's kind of the best way to describe it. You don't feel as engaged with your core, or that you can connect as well. That's often because tension is not restored in that linea alba. So width versus tension, the focus needs to be on regaining the tension. And that is the point that I want to get back and teach you today. So when you're doing that, Think tension more than width, not just crunching everything together. And that is through a lot of the things that we work on in my program. Linea alba focus is key. One, do not do all those crunches. Okay, that's not gonna help you out. Not that you can't do those things, but we wanna do them properly and intentionally, and we can't ignore one of the main issues, which is, again, that linea alba needing to be taut again. I want you to really think of how wiggly and how overstretched and the lack of stability and tautness an overstretched rubber band has. That is your linea alba when it's weak. So the goal is to bring that back again, that tension back, so you have a good firm rubber band once again. So to speak, that's gonna help you. You're gonna feel better too, and you're gonna look better. You're gonna have a more snatched waist, and it's gonna allow those other muscles that you're working with your core workouts to be put to optimization and full work of your efforts when you're performing those. It's just gotta be from the inside out. So linea alba tension first.
If this video was helpful, I would love it if you liked, subscribed, and turned on that notification bell. And if you want deeper support, workouts, and education, you can find everything linked in the caption below or the link to the app in my bio. Thank you for being here, and remember, you matter and you are worth being well, mind, body, and soul.